Moving on, the admission of BBC has created a political turmoil. In February, remember, the Delhi and Mumbai offices of BBC were surveyed by the income tax sleuths. The ecosystem was quick to target the Sarkar and the central agency, linking the raid to BBC's docu-series India, Modi Question. They said that BBC was being hounded for speaking the truth about the Prime Minister. But now, 4 months later, comes a stunning admission. Top government sources reveal that the British broadcaster has communicated to the IT department that it underreported its income in India over the last few years. The broadcaster now wants to file a revised income tax return. Sources also say that there has been no quantification of the tax liability so far. However, willingness to pay tax itself implies that there is tax liability. Remember that the IT department had alleged that BBC had not paid taxes on remittances which were not disclosed as income in India. Sources say the tax liability of BBC runs into crores. Soon after the IT survey, the ED had also started its FEMA investigation into BBC's foreign investments made to BBC India. Here are some reports from BBC's offices which were surveyed in the past.
BBC is again under the scanner of the income tax department. This time around, BBC has made certain admissions. It has informed the income tax department that firstly, it underreported the income in the last few years, and secondly, it paid lower taxes than the liability. We contacted the BBC office here in the national capital, but they refused to speak. But let me show you the visuals. This is the office of the BBC here in the national capital, which along with the Mumbai office was a survey was conducted by the income tax officials here in February, and that time around the IT department had claimed that it has found irregularities in the accounting books of the BBC, and also there were several discrepancies with regard with the transfer pricing documentation is what the income tax department had said when the survey was conducted here and in the Mumbai office back in February.
BBC has confessed, has in fact admitted that it may have paid lower taxes than its liability. In fact, BBC has communicated to the income tax department admitting that it has in fact underreported its income over the past few years. Broadcaster sending an email to the department confessing that it underreported rupees 40 crore of income in its tax returns. In fact, the tax officials time and again had been saying that there had been alleged tax evasion for which survey was being carried out. However, the tax officials now coming out and saying that the BBC had time and again been stating that this was part of vendetta politics by the centre, which is why, these raids were happening. Now, of course, the tax department, the centre, in a way, standing vindicated since the BBC itself had has acknowledged that there has been tax evasion, that it may have paid lower taxes over the last few years than its liability.